We have the Teetotallers in the house, and if you don't know who the Teetotallers are John Doyle on guitar, Martin Hayes on fiddle, and Kevin Crawford on flute. And Kevin and John have been in this very room before. Martin hasn't. Have you been to Charlottesville?
I have,
before?
yeah, but I haven't been in here.
Yeah. Well, welcome to WTJU.
Well,
welcome to Charlottesville.
See you.
And do you want to start off with a tune? Or
I think that's probably what we'll hopefully do best. We'll try that. A March and a Reel, The High Hills of Tara, and Drunken Landlady. 3, 4.
Teetotallers. The Teetotallers live in the studio here. And Kevin Crawford on flute, Martin Hayes on fiddle, John Doyle on guitar. And they're in town for
Concert tonight, yeah.
a concert.
In the, is it the Charlottesville Coffee House?
Seaville.
Oh, Seaville.
Seaville Coffee.
Yeah.
Show starts at 7 o'clock and there are no advance tickets, so
First come, first serve.
it'll be first come, first served, and there'll be a line out the door, I'm sure.
Jeez, hopefully they'll leave 3 seats for us anyway.
Bring our own.
Bring our own, yeah. These are 3 very comfortable chairs, we could bring those. But thanks to Laurie Madden from the Blue Ridge Irish Music School and
Jim Quarles
Jim
as well.
Quarles and
Yourself, Pete.
Beth Ainger and yourselves for getting us to come here. It's great to come back.
Yes, I was crossing my fingers and hoping that you guys might be on this leg of the tour, but seeing as you played in Atlanta a couple of nights ago and then Washington DC and, well, Tacoma Park.
That's
tomorrow,
right, yeah. Up to Maryland tomorrow, yeah.
And then New York. We're a small town along the way for you guys. But,
Very nice town.
Yeah,
Yes,
very important spot for music.
I've played in Charlottesville over the years since '91, so you know, back and forth for years and years and years.
Yeah,
So
your
I
first
always
gig,
loved
you
this
said,
place.
outside of
My
New
first
York.
gig outside of New York, from my first gig coming out of New York from, like, you know, emigrating over here. But I wasn't really planning on emigrating. I just came as a holiday. But you know, Fred Boyce there.
Yeah, Lunas's first tour the same. Charlottesville, the prison was one of their first stop-off points. So we've a lot to be
and I
grateful
was
to
playing you
Charlottesville.
on the air before anybody else was.
Whoa!
But hey,
That's excellent. That's great. Thank you.
So it's great that you're here in Charlottesville. Bring us up to speed on the name, the Teetotallers, and what's the origin of the band?
Well, we've all known each other for many years, of course, and we're all playing collectively in different ensembles at a festival in California, in Sebastopol. And the director of that festival, Cloud Moss, you know, every year would like to put a few musicians from different bands together to create something new out of the people that were already there. And so he put us together for a concert, and he called us the Teetotallers. You know, he was observing us little known fact of all our collective histories here, that we were in fact teetotalers. And so we didn't even pick that name, but it got, you know, well, we didn't come up with anything better either, in fairness, but
we didn't try very hard.
No, we didn't. So
now
we've just gone with it.
Now
So
we find there's
just
another band called the Teetotallers.
That's right. Yeah, you know, our lawyers are in talks at the minute.
Well, we figured that not many Irish bands would actually pick that name. So
well, not too many Irish bands would fit this bill.
No.
So there was a good chance it would be just for us, you know. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, we enjoyed the gig, and we just said, well, if it's that much fun and we're enjoying it, let's do a few concerts. So here we are.
All right. And I understand that, Kevin, your new CD started out as maybe a Teetotallers.
That has funny, that little anecdote from an interview that I did with somebody has become kind of part of the story now, but that's not actually true now. No.
Yeah.
No. Not when Martin's here, we can't talk about that.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that. That's
he wasn't invited to play on
the real reason
solo record, really.
Yeah,
That's really the real reason.
I'd say Martin Knopfler is more responsible for my solo album, and Bob Dylan. Knopfler and Dylan would be more responsible for my solo album than Martin Hayes'
Circuitously.
unavailable kind of status, because John was to do a tour with Mike McGoldrick and John McCusker in England and Scotland, and then Martin Knopfler poached Mike McGoldrick and John McCusker to tour with his band along with Bob Dylan, and the UK tour that John was to do got kind of shelved for a while. So John was
really
doing
weird
nothing.
because it was the same money was involved, like.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the Knopfler plays, like, you know.
Oh yeah, so pennies. So John was doing nothing, and he was looking for a couple of gigs to keep him busy, and I didn't have a couple of gigs, and I said, you know what, let's do an album.
And not invite Martin.
Not invite me.
Yeah. So the Teetotallers was nearly over before it began. Like,
I'm personally,
are you hurt?
I know, I have a lot of self-confidence and belief. I'm fine, you know. Yeah, it doesn't trouble me that much.
Yeah.
So, are there any plans in the works for a Teetotallers album?
Not anymore, apparently.
No, I'm just going to do a solo one.
And we can play them at the same time. Yeah.
Well, that means that we're going to have to make do with live music, at least for now.
No, we will record.
We will record it. Just
yeah.
finding the time is the main issue. We all have our own little separate things going on, and so we're just trying to. We're all staying in Ireland right now at the minute. So myself and Martin live in the States normally, but I'm over there for a little sabbatical down in a place called Killarney in Sligo. Actually, my wife and daughter are listening as we speak over there, and say hello.
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 And so we're staying over there for the year and then coming back. So it's lovely. So hopefully we'll get a chance within the next year before we tour again.
No, it would be good. We were definitely working towards that. We're putting material together with that in mind. So it'd be nice to capture it. I think before.
No, when you would do an album, you'd all be sitting in the same room. You wouldn't record your part and then pass it on.
No.
Definitely not.
In front, that was the conversation over breakfast this
Oh,
morning.
right.
How that does not work.
An incredibly bad idea.
No.
I think.
No.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, no, I mean, there's always a spark that comes and a spontaneity out of playing around with each other, like when you're in that lovely close kind of circle, and I wouldn't like to lose it when the three of us get to play. I mean, sometimes it's inevitable, but I think you lose something as well. You gain maybe something very clean and polished and unblemished, but it can sometimes be a far less musical experience. So hopefully we'll have all the blemishes and a bit of music.
They go
So,
hand in hand.
how about another tune or a song?
Yeah.
I'll do a song here. It's an old version of the Wild Rover, a slow version of it, and from the north of Ireland. So.
A drinking song for the teetotalers now.
I've been a wild rover this many is the year. I spent all my money on whiskey and strong liquor, but now for the future I must take better care, in the hopes that good fortune might come to my care. Wild roving, give it over. Wild roving, give o'er. I never be called a wild rover no more. I went into an alehouse that I used to frequent. I told the landlady all my money was spent. Oh, when she saw I had no money, well, she answered me, nay, such a custom of yours I can have any day. Wild roving, give it over. Wild roving, give o'er. I never be called a wild rover no more. I put my hands in my pocket, some money to find. I pulled out the full of my two hands 5 times. Oh, when she saw I had money, and money galore. When she saw I had money, well, she called me her store, saying I have beer and I have whiskey, and the wines of the best. The words that I told you were only in jest. Wild roving, give it o'er. Wild roving, give o'er. And I never be called the wild rover no more. Had I all the money that I left in your care, it would buy me the food for a family fare, and it would thatch my new cottage, and it would buy me a barn, it would buy me a great coat to keep my back warm,